Ladies and gentlemen, I could be wrong. Twitter could be the best stock in the world, or the best company in the world. This is no investment advice, by the way. It went up today big. Oh my goodness, people are so happy that Wall Street is just so logical and rational. It beat estimates. Wow. It beat the earnings surpassed the estimates of analysts on Wall Street. Wow. Enron was also a stock that people loved for a long time. So it going up $7 today or whatever, that's completely irrelevant. Look at here's the question. Do you see Twitter as a place where you're going to be 10 years from now or 5 years from now? Do you think that you're going to buy a subscription if it's not free? So their user growth is horrendous. Twitter investors look past warnings of slower user growth and rising ad sales. February 9th, they're telling you, this was late last night, and today they had to tell the world, yeah, the user growth is horrendous. We're going to continue with our subscription-based service. Are you going to buy access to Twitter? Are you going to actually pay to be demeaned and insulted and mocked and denigrated and disparaged and get into a debate, an endless argument with people who are oftentimes the most apoplectic, seething, fuming, hysterical, manic, angry, morally superior liberal Democrats? Twitter is a place, it's a cyber reality that is doing so bad in terms of user growth that they have to start a subscription. So, a subscription-based service. So, Twitter Inc. on Tuesday beat Wall Street targets for quarterly sales. Big deal. As ad spending rebounded. All right, here's another question. Are you going to, if you're a company, why are you going to spend money on Twitter or Facebook? What are the return, do you really get sales from Twitter? Have you purchased anything on Twitter? I mean, these are questions that, again, I could be wrong. It could be the best company in the world. But after President Trump was banned, and he's going to be banned forever, which is the best thing for Trump. They did the best thing possible for President Trump. Where are they going to get this user growth? They say 80% of the users are from outside the U.S. There's no other country in the world that's obsessed with Twitter the way we are. So, and user growth is plummeting. So the solid, aided by ad product improvement, convinced investors to overlook dull forecasts for user growth, which Twitter expects to slow down to low double digit this year as a boost from the pandemic fizzles. So they actually got more users from the pandemic because people were stuck at home, but then their ad sales tanked, their ad revenue tanked, but then the ad revenue, rebounded, but now users they have things to do like live their lives outside of a cyber reality. But you still have $3 billion plus in debt. And you have now this push for a subscription-based service. You can even look, will you be forced to pay for Twitter this year? Yahoo Finance. Why would you be forced to pay for something that is supposed to be the future of the internet? What I'm trying to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is that without President Trump, so they banned President Trump, and of course they try to make it seem like, oh yeah, we're more than just one person, da-da-da. They're not. The reason Twitter is important or influential is that it is a cyber reality where you can just spew disdain and contempt for one political side or President Trump. Hollywood, politics in general, the establishment, I should say, political establishment in the country, or just Hollywood. I mean, you have AOC is a perfect example. You become a very influential politician on Twitter, and you do so in a very kind of deceptive manner. Then when push comes to shove and you have Jimmy Dore, for example, demanding, hey, you're a social media star. Can we have Medicare for all now, or can you at least vote on it? Because I come from the left. I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. I used to be the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. My articles went viral in The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon in 2016. And you can see my writing on hagoodman.com. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. But ladies and gentlemen, we're back on our way to 200,000 subs, so hit subscribe. But what Jimmy Dore did is said, look, I support President Trump because I want to end to never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts, which is interesting because you have the Lincoln Project and AOC on Twitter getting retweeted a million times. And so you have the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld era neoconservative foreign policy hawks who helped make Trump the absolute worst Bush, George W. Bush, the absolute worst president of all time. He destabilized regions of the world, and those regions are still in chaos and turmoil today because of Bush's foreign policy, because of the Lincoln Project and other like-minded conservatives or neoconservatives, because of their foreign policy. Everything they said didn't turn out. Not only did all their predictions fail, but when their predictions failed, hundreds of thousands of people had their lives ruined or lost. And that's not hyperbole. And you have them now as, well, up until recently, their scandals and skeletons came out of the woodwork. But you had them as this influential little political operative organization on Twitter and Facebook. Then you had AOC, like I said, Jimmy Dore said, hey, you know what? You promised Medicare for all. You promised a Green New Deal legislation. You promised universal basic income. Why don't you just have a vote so this way we can realize if Democrats will implement these policies before the Messiah comes? Oh, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. That's so horrible. We can't do that. So the truth comes out. The Twitter is a place where you can be deceptive. That's why you have these people. I have my own person impersonating me on Twitter. I haven't been on Twitter for 2 years. I haven't been on Twitter for 2 years. I haven't been on Facebook for 2 years. I don't consider... YouTube is not really social media. Like, I'm not interacting with anyone other than... This is, like, the difference between your cell phone and your computer and a VHS tape, or a VHS recorder, or a television set is just, what you're watching the video on. So this is just video, just like when you had VHS or DVD, whatever. Social media is, it's a cyber reality, it's Tron. It's you're entering the Matrix. You're entering this alternate reality where you can deceive, you can hide behind fake profiles and try to intimidate or try to bully people. You can, if you're on the left, take advantage of a double standard where you're not going to really get suspended or blocked or banned, but you can engage in horrendous behavior. You can edit clips and edit videos. It is a world that doesn't exist. That is the only thing, the only thing propping up the Democratic Party. So you can have AOC and Bernie Sanders funneling all the left-leaning outrage and indignation and moral superiority back into the Democratic Party, saying, look, you know what? Medicare for all saves lives, and the planet's going to end, and we need to do this, we need to do that, and retweet it, and you get 1 million retweets, and at the end of the day, you do nothing, but you still get the power and the platform and the influence, I should say, of telling people, hey, you know what? If you don't vote Democrat, you know what? You are just as bad as a Trump supporter and Trump, and look what he did, and then you get retweeted a million times. So you get away with everything in terms of lying to your voters on Twitter, which is a perfect platform or perfect arena for Democrats because they don't want the policies that they promised their voters. And then you could just pump lies and propaganda. Trump worked with Russia. Oh, yes, he did. He was in a Moscow hotel room. He's just like the 1930s and 1940s Germans. There's no difference, except President Trump was a greater friend to Israel than any other president, which is extremely important to Jewish voters. He got a greater percentage of Jewish voters. I'm a Jewish voter, Jewish American voter. I can tell you that he hit Trump moving the embassy, recognizing Golan as Israel's, signing an executive order combating anti-Semitism on college campuses. These are things that, using the IHRA's definition, these are things that no other president would do, and he did. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Twitter is going into a subscription-based. Will you be forced to pay for Twitter this year? Yahoo Finance. And the reason is because it's tanking. It's up today because they beat estimates because of ad sales because they're so big. But the user growth is tanking. Nobody really cares about it as a platform. Everyone's realizing it's the most horrendous, unhealthy place to be. And you are literally wasting your life on that platform. Give me your thoughts.